you find them highly distasteful, because they are vulgar, they are aggressive. The beauty of the woman comes from shyness, chastity, this is actually when you become attractive. This picture of the princess, this was still maintained for generations. The princess, and then comes the prince, and as Prabhupada said, women like to be aggressively approached, which some fools interpreted that he's advocating some kind of violence. This is ridiculous. No, women like to be aggressively approached means that actually they like that you try to conquer them, you try to impress them, like this. And there was a whole culture around that, Kshatriya type, they were fighting for a princess, There was arranged marriages, of course, and there's different kind of marriages like that. So, but that's also is pertaining to a particular caste, to a particular class of people. Like Kshatriyas, they have the right to go out there and fight. Shudras cannot fight for a wife, because they will just fight. This is all very much controlled, and very much, everything in Vedic culture is controlled. Nothing is allowed to flow accidentally, just by modes of nature. This is the deadly freedom here, which we gained in the modern Kali Yuga, that everything is kind of, you feel it, then do it. You must feel it. They even encourage that. They enforce that. They enhance that. You must become as sensual as possible, as mental as possible, and then you make your choice. This is actually the preaching you hear all the time. That's why they are scared when children come close to Krishna consciousness. The parents get scared. Oh no, he will not be sensual like this. I can give detailed stories from that. Just recently came across one brahmachari on a street distributing in some Slavian country. Of course, this is one of the classical stories which was replayed several times in the ISKCON world. Brahmachari distributes on the street, and then comes the lady, and she's very interested in Krishna consciousness, and he thinks, wow, such an interesting and deeply spiritual, involved lady. Then he's preaching more and more to her, and then she's listening more and more, and they have a Bhakti Vriksha meeting, and they have a Sangha meeting, and they have a counseling meeting, and mediation meeting, or whatever meeting, and by the time they are completely both wrapped, in their bodies, it is becoming evident that our brahmachari will not be brahmachari anymore. Fortunately, he did the right thing, actually. He placed the whole issue in front of the spiritual master. Unfortunately, he has a spiritual master who can see through this kind of romantics, and who has a pretty straightforward attitude to prolong somebody's brahmachari life as much as possible, possibly bring him to the point of sannyas. There are such a gurus still existing. They didn't die out. They still exist. It's not like, oh, Mataji, very nice, Chin Hare Krishna. Oh, Brahmachari, very nice, Chin Hare Krishna. And all together, Chin Hare Krishna. And then the babies will all Chin Hare Krishna. And the babies will be all pure. And the Mataji will be pure. And the Brahmachari is pure. And then they all go to hell. But, this is not that kind of preaching. Unfortunately, the Brahmachari had a spiritual master who said, you are nuts. This woman just put her cloth into you, and she will take out of you whatever spiritual credit and merit you have. Ooh, what it means, in a cold shower, you are so nicely warmed up, and somebody puts a really bucket with cold water over your head. Then the Mataji got upset. Actually she was smart enough, she knew, I will not get to the brahmachari without that guru. So she also placed her great spiritual interest in front of her spiritual counselor, Well, she got quite a straight answer too. Leave my brahmachari alone. Especially because the setup was such that the lady was older, and he was younger. You should read that letter from here. You great sage, how could you, I agree you are a saintly person, but how could you actually commit such a sinful act to disrupt this wonderful relationship? How could you do it? And then comes the whole thing, and actually, whole ISKCON is like that. You have no love, you people. You have no affection, nothing. You are teaching people how to be harsh and heartless and just Hare Krishna. It was a whole lecture, I got it all served by internet, It's wonderful emails I get sometimes, really beautiful emails. Because that spiritual master is my greatest friend, so he just said, hey, what should I do with this? The woman is cursing me up and down, And I said, there's nothing to do with this. She's just cursing, so what? It's just a woman. There's nothing more to it. This is called the Aditi syndrome, Yeah. You kill even Indra. Kill him! He frustrated my expectation. Kill him! Women can be extremely harsh. Very cruel. This is like, one Western, obviously experienced woman hunter said, there's nothing worse as the rage of a scorned woman. Like when you let feel a woman, you don't need her. They can get so angry, so furious. If you want to really know the full-time show, the full-scale show, you have to go to Spain or Italy or something like this. Or South America, it's really great. And these women get angry then, plates are flying, they smash furniture, and they just get furious. They're so frustrated, material desires. That's generally what it is. Men too. Most of our anger is generated from frustrated material desires. So this is what it is. So in a female form, it can take an incredible, we know the whole Ramayana is full of this, and how cunning women can be. They can cry at the command, they can be loving at the command, they can calculate things very precisely. Men are too stupid for this. They don't understand this. It's only a woman can understand a woman. Men are always, therefore it's important to be married on a certain point. Because then you have a police there, the bodyguard. And you go, oh, this Mataji, she is such a distress, I have to help her, Hare Krishna, I have to preach to her. And the wife goes, she is not as miserable as you think. She just wants to get something out of you, that's all. Therefore, all the managers preferably have to be married, and very solidly married. You need such a warning system there, because management brings you to women and money. And some fame, maybe some illusory fame is there. And that's exactly what women vibrate upon. Oh, impressive man. Very impressive. He can operate, he can control others. Very good, very good. And he has some money at his disposal, And behind every big man, there is a big woman. So let's find some man who operates with these things, and then I will through him operate like this. This is generally the principle. Because women, they cannot actually operate on their own. Never. So they have to find the tools and the means to become socially expressive and what they consider important. Well, so it's fun to watch this politicians being, attacked by these women, and it's the whole material world is full of these games, Women going around, making their way in the White House all the way to the top. How did they achieve that? By sex, as simple as that. There's nothing more to it. And you see a woman being dominant in such a field, it's just sex life. They're not particularly educated, or they're not particularly this. Or you become a protégé, that means actually become protected by a powerful man. Like this, known like the German chancellor lady, Miss Merkel. you know, I'm the most powerful woman in the whole world. You know, she wasn't powerful at all. She was just a normal woman who was specially affectionate, treated by Mr. Kohl, the previous chancellor, who was actually at the time of German unification there. And he picked her up. He said, this lady is going to be the next one. And he gave her all the affection, all the connection, everything. And he made her really to that. You know, he pushed her through and he was teaching her all the time how to act in a cunning and political way. And she became pretty good at it. She became a pretty good disciple. You know, yeah. And besides that, it corresponds to the need of the Germans to have a woman in charge, because then nobody can say they are such a big Nazis. You know, so there is a need. Look, how can we be Nazis? We have this nice lady here. You know, she is good in mediation. She is good in, you know, and she is quite good actually. She's quite good. You know, when men fight, a woman come in between and say, but, boys, please, cool it. You know, let's talk. Women look so motherly, you know. So then, you know, she can get things done. But this is all mundane. This is all material show going on. So in order to stay protected, that's what Prabhupada's formula was. One has to place oneself in a circumstance where one can receive maximum shelter. I could say more things about semen, but it's actually a disgusting substance. Come on. It's just like speaking about spitting and, you know. Oh yeah, and the great sage was spitting on the ground and the baby came out or whatever, you know, it's just it's not the most you know, actually what is coming out of this body is not of such a dignified nature, you know. What do you want? What is body producing actually? Hair, semen, mucus, you know, pus, hair, you know, sweat. It's great substances, all of them. It's really a dignified existence to live in this body. Very dignified. But if guided by Shastra and supervised by spiritual authority, then actually these actions of the body become purified. And they even assume a spiritual meaning. So that's the benefit to have a spiritual guide. I have not much more to say about semen, really. Keep it. Prabhupada's formula was, keep it. Don't give it away. Keep it. Why? Because it collects in the spine and enhances the brain activity. So Prabhupada said, keep it. Yeah.
I mean, all these fantastic descriptions of, you know, laboratories and like that. It reminds me once, many years ago, Jan, you know Jan, was on TV in Denmark in a youth program, and of course he was interviewed by, you know, a very young lady, you know, lusty, dressed loose like that, and of course he had to say with her, but sex is natural, isn't it? And
yeah, they come with the same mantra.
Yeah, and me and Jan was there, you know, yeah, but he said, but pills and preservatives don't grow on trees. And it, he just...
This was Prabhupada. He said, yes, you are right. Prabhupada, even I just heard it, he said, sex life is a sign of healthy life. Because a sick person cannot have sex. So he said, yes, if you have lots of sexual desire, you are healthy. You can have sex, yeah. But then take the consequences. Why? If it's so natural, then why suddenly to make such unnatural arrangements? Sex, have a baby. Even in an irregulated way, let's say. You know, even it's called Vahamshankara essentially. But still, when the father takes responsibility, and the mother, and they stay married, well, there's some sort of regulation, yeah. At least at the Prabhupada called like a gentleman. you take the responsibility of the consequences of your actions. Not hear sex and then they kill it, and then what about pills and all this stuff? What about killing? Then let it be. Yes. Prabhupada said, then you can have as many children as you want. Yes. But don't stop it. This is the ultimate argument with these people, because they are so hypocritical when it comes to this. And women, once again proving that they are less intelligent, they buy this whole thing. And a woman, I met Matajis, I met women who only went through abortion. It's devastating for the subtle body. It's devastating. You never recover from this. It leaves such a deep, ghastly effect, It's such a sinful death. You don't have to wait for the next lifetime. You get it right away in this lifetime. All the ways to fix them. Therefore, so many women are just lunatics, just bad. In one sense. They look maybe to you, if you are not married and if you don't come close to it, as more sane, but very often lunatics. Because of that sinful activity. Even Krishna takes it more easy with women as with men, obviously. But still, the reactions are there. Innocent or not innocent? What innocent? Knowledgeable or not knowledgeable? If you touch fire, you get burned one way or another. Yeah?
You mentioned sometimes that Krishna is sitting in the heart, and sometimes he's just turning on the lust, he can raise the flame all over.
Yeah.
So when suddenly all of a sudden you think, I'm very calm, I'm very free from sex desire, and then suddenly, whoa, where did this come from?
Yeah.
What?
It's a test.
Okay.
And it's a shadow kind of reflection of our past activities. But honestly, you can just tolerate it. Just tolerate it. And then when that becomes more and more difficult, well, let's call that grasta. It's a field of practice. You need to take the consequences. That's another regulation. Always remembers me on the Prabhupada when he was small, the intense desire to touch the fan on the ceiling. When he was small boy, in India even a very simple and poor man has this fan running on the ceiling. So when Prabhupada was a small boy, he was always eager to get to that fan. He said, this is very interesting. Boys are always interested in something mechanical which moves, and Prabhupada was fascinated by the first trains, driving through Calcutta, the first, city trains. Prabhupada was thinking, wow, this was done with electric wiring, and then there was a stick, like this. This is practiced in quite some cities. Even buses are driven sometimes like that. There's a sticks connected to the wire, and then you charge from the wire, and you can travel. Wherever the wire goes, you can travel like this through the city. So Prabhupada said, when I was a small boy, I said, I will get a stick and also touch that, and I can also drive like this around. He had all kinds of fantasies, When he saw the first gramophone, gramophone is big, amplification, and they have the LP running around. Prabhupada was thinking, wow, what a sound. There must be a whole orchestra sitting in that little box, little man playing like this, and then the sound comes out. He didn't connect the sound to the LP. He was thinking, no, there must be some little man sitting inside who are playing this nice music. It's children's thinking. So when he was fascinated by the fan, he wanted to reach the fan all the time, get to the fan. His father told him, don't do this, this gets very dangerous. This is very fast and it hurts. He didn't believe that. So finally, his father knew that he's not going to change his desire. So he says, okay. Then he switched the fan off. And as it was running slowly and slowly and more slowly, he even helped him. He said, please. And he lifted him up, he said, now you can touch it. And the little Abhay was saying, wow, I can touch the fan. So he held up his little finger there, and when the blade from the propeller came, it hit his finger. but not in a normal speed. It was slow. And the little Abhay realized, ow, that hurts. And he completely dropped the whole desire. It's called Vihasta. The speed is slowed down in a regulated way, so you can put the finger there and going, ow! Very good. Don't touch the fan. Now rationally you can think like this, but there is an emotional side to it, which most of us have to experience to get purified, to get the ow effect. That when you speak to a young grihastha, it's different as when you speak to the old grihastha. Because the old grihastha already goes, yes, ow. Especially when you got the full package. 2, 3 children, yeah, that's a real saint, yeah. Get it. Prabhupada said 2 is maximum. No, I know grihasthas who have 3, I know grihasthas who have 6. Well, that's really pure Darwinism, You can give up any kind of control or nothing. It's just a horde of, because for this you will need a whole armies of servants. Like, you have to be on the level of these empowered personalities. There's no description in Bhagavatam how these children were taken care of and how they were actually, but there was a whole army of people taking care of it. We don't have it. So devotees usually, once they are overpowered by sentiments, they don't take the consequences into account. So you have to suffer. That's the ow effect. Prabhupada writes in the letter, a wife can be a friend, a wife can be a bitch. So you have to taste both. And then you have the whole package. And then you think, okay, no more touching friends. That should be the result. So regulation first. First you regulate, then you stop. You can see how desperately sometimes the devotees try to stop first without properly regulating, and that creates a disastrous effect. It's it's like water, the water or volcano, let's say. Volcano, sometimes there are techniques how to control it. They cannot stop the volcano, but they can regulate the flow of the lava and all this. They can regulate so it doesn't come into the town or something like that. That you can do. So, Yeah.
But as far as most bhaktas coming joining, they've already pretty much frustrated their material desires, we grow up in that culture, so that's basically what we do. But still, then we come here, we practice, and then still we want to...
Yeah, of course. Because first of all you forget. You think, actually it wasn't so bad. And second of all, you are not sufficiently frustrated. Frustrated enough to walk in a door, but to stay, well, that requires a further purification. Krishna consciousness is a really clean up, all the way down. It's not a patchwork. Krishna consciousness is not a patchwork. It goes really to the substance. Therefore, some people leave simply. They cannot take it anymore to be facing your conditioning all the time. They say, no, I want to be a little bit more illusion again. I have enough of this density all the time. Always facing my conditioning. I want to be a happy devotee. No, I'm not so happy devotee. So I have to go out and become a happy devotee. Happy means you remove authority from your life. That's at least the idea. And immediately, there will be so many authorities installed in your life. I remember in Sankirtan, this scene we had one Sankirtan devotee left once again to get free, and to get away from this density of brahmacharya, ashram, all these regulations, and get up and all this sadhana and all this. So he just left. And once we drove on this summer, on a highway, German highway, and it was halfway blocked. There was construction site. But they were just finishing the job. So the last thing they do, they collect this, these plastic triangles, which mark, which goes down the highway, these plastic things you put on the floor. So don't drive here like that. So when they are finished, they have a system. They have a truck. There is one guy driving the truck, one is standing on the truck, and the third one is running behind the truck, collecting these plastic, cubes and throwing them to the guy on the truck. And that was our Sankirtan one. I just drove because the traffic has to slow down, So I just drove slowly. We had open windows for summertime. And I went, "Hey, Prabhus, that's him!" And he was like collecting the cubes and throwing them on the truck. And then, of course, we were brahmacharis, full of this kind of sadistic humor. So everybody rolled down the window and was going, "Hari Bol, Prabhu!" Like this. And he was going, "Oh, Hari Bol, Prabhus!" And he slowed down immediately. The guy from the truck was yelling, "Faster, faster!" Obviously, it was the most difficult part to run behind the truck and collect these cubes, So immediately he got chastised. I was just speeding up the car, driving away, and I was thinking, for this you leave. You free yourself of spiritual authority for this. So some guy on the truck can yell at you, and you can run in a heat on a highway collecting plastic cubes. Great. So this liberating oneself from any sort of authority. Yeah, I do it my way. Yeah, good luck. There will be always somebody yelling at you. Jayanta Prabhu told me, Jayanta told me, very purifying. Very purifying. He works hard the whole day. When he comes home, there's a wife who wants to go back to India. Then there's a child who cannot sleep the whole night, screaming the whole night. That means you cannot sleep too. And the next day, again, job. So there's a boss who goes, "No, today we do double shift." "What? Double shift? Well, you can also quit the job because we have 50 others waiting on the line right away today in the morning. Great. That's purification. That makes you humble. So just in case some brahmacharis think that we are really having a hard time here, you have no idea what hard time can be. Yeah. It's more and more turning into fight for survival. Even in Denmark. It's just they don't tell people that. But it's more and more turning into fight for survival. People are more and more stressed, more and more just fighting. Now they are fighting to maintain the standard of sense gratification. Soon they'll be fighting just to maintain themselves alone. I know countries where people fight to get a job just to have a health insurance. Because when you have a job, you have a health insurance. They work for free. They work for free just to have an insurance. Jai. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Who may do the kirtan? Somebody has an idea? It's only half an hour, actually.
You could phone Jakob